pour one out for Sony and Insomniac Games. Yes, there was a massive breach. Unfortunately, listen, I feel bad genuinely for Insomniac Games, and I'm not going to be sharing like that type of information in terms of, you know, kind of the major spoiler points or anything like that to anything that leaked. You guys will have to look elsewhere for that stuff, but all that stuff did leak. The main thing that I wanted to talk about is something else that kind of came out, which was basically Sony admitting by a lot and a large portion that they are very worried about Microsoft and things like that. So this really kind of justifies that. Now listen, I know that how the PlayStation fanboys are with this kind of stuff. They're going to be like, this was proven fake, and their proof to this being quote unquote fake is somebody commented in a chat that it was fake. Right? There's zero proof that this is fake, by the way, but we'll still keep it with a grain of salt. We're going to put it out there anyway. It looks very much like this. It does say that it's unverified slide, which is very interesting. Recently, PlayStation developer Insomniac was hit by a huge ransomware attack that has since seen various internal documents, videos, and other files leak onto the internet. This leak is reminiscent of Microsoft's big court document snafu from the summer, where Microsoft revealed embarrassing details about its internal thought processes, as well as a roadmap for a potential next Xbox. In this big document from Insomniac, we potentially got a glimpse into how PlayStation is feeling about Microsoft's Activision acquisition. Now, in October of 23, Microsoft finalized its deal to acquire Activision Blizzard, giving it control over franchises like World of Warcraft and Call of Duty, which is, you know, pretty epic if you think about it. Sony identifies the potential threats that it could face in a world where Microsoft owns Call of Duty, but it should be noted that some of these thoughts precede Microsoft's deal with PlayStation to maintain parity for at least 10 years. So here's what they say. They think that Microsoft can leapfrog them. Acquisition of Activision positions it to leapfrog our current pillars. Activision provides incredible strategic value across live service games, scale in mobile and PC storefront Battle.net. In addition, Microsoft is building a mobile gaming store to compete with Apple and Google. Industry major shifts and threats. The Call of Duty threat in 2027. Microsoft's acquisition of Activision could disrupt and threaten console gaming and game subscription markets. Console shift from PlayStation to Xbox with timing and in-game differential as the weapons. Subscription. Microsoft's comprehensive ecosystem coupled with exclusivity creates greater dominance. Sony impact. Massive threat to PlayStation Plus. Upwards of 1.5 billion of annual revenue threat. Gap to fill. 45 million subs times $12 monthly times 12 months times 20% multiplayer third party. Day and date threat. Post-acquisition, Microsoft will put Activision games on Game Pass day and date. Leapfrog. Activision provides incredible strategic value across live service games as they scale in mobile and PC storefront. Microsoft can supply multi-game subscriptions, 50% console games, 50% PC, 60%. Sony's pillars are already dated and behind the competition. Sony impact need to expand elusive perfect game subscription as well. So anyway, these images are shared. I'm going to link this. I'm not going to show this on my video. Sony allegedly goes into detail about how it views Microsoft positioning moving forward. Described by Sony as the leapfrog, the slide details how Microsoft is aiming to build a mobile gaming store to compete with Apple and Google. As previous information, it also states how Microsoft could build a comprehensive ecosystem across mobile, PC, and console, referring to Game Pass as GP throughout. Sony details how its pillars are quote-unquote dated and behind Microsoft, referring to Microsoft's growing service game portfolio across titles like Sea of Thieves, Halo Infinite, and Minecraft. Sony also notes that it needs to respond, although its service game efforts have hit snags recently, with Destiny's upcoming expansion delayed and The Last of Us Online entirely canceled. Elsewhere in the document, Sony details how difficult it is to actually get a return on investment for AAA games, an issue that is plaguing the entire industry. Sony expresses how a $500 million game might not break even in the first year, which is upending how publishers are thinking about platforms like PC and mobile as they seek profitability and less risky investments. To that end, Sony's strategic pillars seem to detail an intent to eventually launch games more quickly or even day one on Windows PC as part of a new pillar. Even if these particular slides aren't real, which could be accurate, they do detail the real-world reality PlayStation now finds itself in. Sony is still the second biggest gaming company by revenue despite Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, owing to its near total global dominance of console hardware market. Xbox has notoriously struggled to attract the same kind of global attention for the Xbox consoles, with many users happy to just stick with Xbox One or switching instead to the PlayStation ecosystem. In previous interviews, of course, Phil Spencer has lamented that the Xbox One generation caused Microsoft to lose the console war as players became increasingly locked in by their digital libraries. The console landscape is partially what prompted Microsoft to acquire Activision Blizzard, owing to the firm's strong position in mobile gaming across Diablo, Hearthstone, Call of Duty Mobile, and Candy Crush. Microsoft also correctly predicted the end of mobile, the walled garden ecosystem, with Apple and Google gradually being forced by regulators to open up their storefronts to competitors. In that universe, Microsoft might decide to build its own mobile gaming store, offering more favorable terms to third-party developers on top of its own offerings. Sony may have firmly identified that Microsoft is far better positioned to diversify in the evolving gaming landscape. Even if its position in console gaming remains incredibly dominant, Sony's games command a level of quality and desirability that continues to elude Xbox sometimes. Although Microsoft's slate of upcoming games looks incredibly strong for 2024 and beyond. Real slides or not, the industry is shifting. While Microsoft has acquired a verifiable mountain of content and developers, they also face an incredible challenge to truly make use of all that creative capital. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 reviewed poorly this year, potentially opening it up to modernized rivals as well. Microsoft also stands to lose key veteran developers who may seek to retire following major share payouts from Microsoft's various acquisitions. We've not seen a peep from games in long-term development like Everwild, State of Decay 3, or Contraband, and even Bethesda's much-hyped Starfield became the target of, people kind of pushing unfair things on it, to be quite honest about the whole thing. There's no guarantee that Microsoft's mobile game store will take off. Either Epic Game Store on Windows PC offers developers a favorable rate, and yet it hasn't made the Vegas of dents in Steam. The same is true for PC Game Pass, which offers players hundreds of games for a low monthly fee. Will mobile Game Pass fare any better? We'll have to wait and see. Either way, Microsoft is pulling more revenue than it ever has and has expanded across every gaming pillar, which really kind of helps with this whole thing where people go, oh, well, they're not selling as many Xboxes as PlayStation is selling PlayStations. It makes it irrelevant because Microsoft has these other pillars, and that's what Sony is kind of freaked out about, and they're admitting this, right? So let's just say that these are fake, but the realities are still real. Right? This is what everybody's been saying for a long time. And Sony has been, what is real also is Sony's been desperately trying to get their own live service games out the door for a very long time. And so when we see these types of leaks and we see, oh, well, they are worried because the way that they do things is very old school. And it turns out like a Spider-Man 2 game cost them almost $400 million to make. You sort of understand why Microsoft does Game Pass, because you have a steady income throughout the entire year instead of having to rely on selling a certain amount of games that way. So very interesting. I'm going to link this stuff. You guys can check it out. Let me know what you guys think. Have you read through any of this stuff, seen any of the leaks? Let me know. Sound off, rate, come subscribe. I'm Crap Gamer. This has been Crap Gamer Reviews. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.